This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. Today, the topic is about carcinoma tongue. Carcinoma tongue is important. It's because in final exam also we'll be having a spot about carcinoma tongue, but it's a short case. But better to know about the carcinoma about the tongue. So, coming to tongue, fairly these are the contexts we are going to discuss today. That is development of tongue, anatomy, tumors, carcinoma of tongue, predisposing precancerous lesions, pathology, clinical features, and spread of carcinoma, TNM staging, diagnosis and treatment. So coming to development of tongue. So starting in the 4th month of the intrauterine life, the mesoderm of pharyngeal arch where the tongue develops. Okay, including 4 pharyngeal arches. The first pharyngeal arches, right, and 2 lateral lingual swellings and 1 medial swelling, that is tuberculum impar. And these 3 swellings forming the anterior 2/3 of the body of the tongue. Okay. So posterior part of the tongue is also implied. So second median swelling, the copula or the hypobranchial eminence is formed by the mesoderm of the second and third and fourth arch, and these swellings forming the posterior part of the tongue. So coming to the anatomy of the tongue. So that is the development in brief. We will brief about this anatomy and development, anatomy also. The tongue is an intramuscular organ situated in the floor of the mouth. It is associated with the functions of taste, speech, mastication, and deglutition. We all know normal functions. So it is anchored to the hyoid bone posteriorly and mandible inferiorly and soft palate posteriorly. So parts of tongue. Externally, what else you see on the tongue? That is a root, a tip, a body, and the dorsum and the inferior surface. So muscles of the tongue. So what are the muscles that include the blood supply to the tongue? The middle fiber septum divides the tongue into the right and left halves. Each half contains 4 intrinsic and 4 extrinsic muscles. So the intrinsic muscles occupy the upper part of the tongue and are attached to the submucous fibrous layer and to the medial fibrous septum. And the extrinsic muscles connect to the tongue to the mandible, hyoid bone, striatal process, and to the palate. So the muscles that are intrinsic muscles that are attached to the tongue are superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse, and vertical. So the origin, priorly superior longitudinal origin is from lingual septum, and insertion is to the marginal mucous membrane of tongue. Function is to shorten the tongue and make dorsum concave. Inferior longitudinal, that is root of the tongue, apex of the tongue is the insertion. It also shortens the tongue and makes the dorsum convex. Transverse, that is the lingual septum at the margin of the tongue. It makes tongue narrow and elongated. So vertically, anterior border of the tongue, inferior surface of the tongue, border of the tongue is an insertion, and it makes the tongue broad and flattened. So all these muscles have the common nerve supply, that is the hypoglossal nerve. These are the insertion and attachment of the muscles, that is superior longitudinal, inferior longitudinal, transverse, and vertical. So extrinsic muscles include the stylioglottis, and genioglottis. So the extrinsic muscles, genioglottis origin from the upper genial tubercle of the mandible, and the upper fibers to the tip of the tongue, and middle fibers to the dorsum, and lower fibers to the hyoid bone. The function of this genioglottis muscle is for forward protrusion. And hyoglossus, it includes the hyoid bone, side and inferior part of the tongue. It helps in depression of the tongue. Styloglossus, styloid process, side and inferior part of the tongue, and backward protrusion. Palatoglossus, that is palate, side of the tongue and elevation of the tongue. So, extrinsic muscles of the tongue include the genioglossus, geniohyoid, and hyoid bone attachment. That is palatoglossus, stylohyoid, and styloglossus, and also hyoglossus. So, coming to these are the anatomy and the development of the tongue. So let's apply include lingual artery, a branch of the external carotid artery, and the root of the tongue is also supplied by the transverse and ascending pharyngeal arteries. And coming to venous drainage. So similarly, deep lingual vein, which is the largest and is the principal vein of the tongue, and other lingual veins, short lingual veins also drains into the common facial vein or internal jugular vein. Lymphatic drainage of the tongue. So it drains into the submental lymph nodes, and lateral margins drain into the submandibular and upper deep cervical nodes. Posterior ones are drain into the pharyngeal and upper deep cervical nodes. The lymphatic drainage of the tongue is also midline. Lymphatics in the midline of the tongue freely cross and communicate with each other, as shown in the figure. So spread across to the both sides of the neck and the lymph nodes. The lymphatic vessels pass as subperitoneal lymphatics of the mandible. So carcinoma tongue involves mandible through the root, and the lymphatics from posterior one third of the tongue drains into pharyngeal group of lymph nodes and upper deep cervical nodes. Lightly spread to the pharyngeal group of the node from carcinoma or posterior third of the tongue as poor prognosis. So nerve supply, it includes hypoglossal nerve and palatal is supplied by the cranial node of accessory nerve of the pharyngeal plexus. The sensory nerves and the motor nerves. The sensory nerves for the anterior two-thirds of the tongue include lingual nerve, and the taste includes chorda tympani, except variety papillae. And posterior one-third of the tongue, it includes sensory, that is glossopharyngeal nerve, and taste includes glossopharyngeal nerve, also supplied by the superior variety papillae. Posterior most is the internal branch of superior laryngeal nerve. So coming to the tumors, that is papilloma, fibroepithelial polyp, hemangioma, lymphangioma, neurofibroma, lipoma, and granular cell myoblastoma. So coming to the carcinoma of tongue, the incidence is common in age group of about 50 to 70 years, and uncommon below the age of 50 years. The incidence is equal in men and women. Incidence is rising in female due to increase in the number of female smokers. And in Western countries, tongue is the first common site of malignancy in the oral cavity, while in India it is the second most common due to chewing of the tobacco and reverse smoking of the cigarettes. So predisposing causes, that includes chronic irritation by smoking, sepsis, spices, alcohol, sharp tooth, fan chewing using areca, tobacco, snake lime, and human papilloma virus, that is type 16, and also poor oral hygiene and malnutrition. And these are some of the precancerous lesions, that is leukoplakia, erythroplakia, chronic hyperplastosis, candidiasis, and submucosal fibrosis. Precancerous lesions, other are syphilitic glossitis, cydiopenic dysphagia, and lichen planus. And there is also discoid lupus erythematosus and dysbiosis congenita. So what is the pathology? Most common sites, that is the most common site includes the lateral margin, that is commonest, including 47 to 50%. And posterior third, it includes 20%, 10% in dorsum, and 10% in ventral surface, and 10% in the tip of the tongue. So what are the types? Including papillary, ulcerative or ulceroproliferative, fissures with induration, and lobulated indurated mass. Histologically, squamous cell carcinoma includes, it is the commonest type, and adenocarcinoma may arise from the minor salivary glands, mucous glands, and melanomas. So clinical features. Coming to clinical features, there will be visible ulcer in the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. These ulcers can bleed and touch, and their base or surroundings are indurated as of normal ulcer. Often indurated area is much more extensive than the primary tumor. Edge is everted commonly. Ulcers, it may cross the border midline and may extend into the floor of the mouth and alveolus and the mandible. And growth of the ulcer in posterior third usually is not visible. So pain, due to infection or ulceration, there will be pain, and also involvement of the lingual nerve only. Pain is referred to the ear, or else the pain is not present in the case of most cases of the carcinoma. Pain on swallowing seen in case of carcinoma posterior third of the tongue. So excess salivation, and saliva is often blood stained, and due to ulceration, continuous bleeding, and dysphagia due to fixed tongue and involvement of the genioglossus muscle, which does not help in protrusion and goes in the posterior third of the tongue. And ankylosing, involvement of the muscle of the tongue, inability to articulate, and theater, that is halitosis due to infection and necrosis in the tongue, and change in voice occurs in the posterior third of the tongue, and femoral posterior third area is more aggressive. Palpable lymph nodes in the neck is hard nodular fixed to the underlying tissue in advanced stage. So the spread includes the local spread, including the anterior spread occurs to the genioglossus muscle, floor of the mouth, opposite side on mandible. That is, local spread is through local infiltration. So other is, it also spreads locally to the tonsils, side of pharynx, soft palate, epiglottis, larynx, and cervical spine. Okay. So lymphatic spread, it includes tip to submental lymph nodes. The lymph nodes, most probably first and second group of lymph nodes, and also third, fourth, and fifth group of lymph nodes. That is in the neck nodes most commonly. And lateral margin, it includes the submandibular and deep cervical lymph nodes. Lymphatics in the tongues are freely communicating with, and so involvement of bilateral lymph nodes is present, most commonly seen. And from posterior third, it spreads to the pharyngeal nerves, and upper deep cervical lymph nodes are present. The first lymph nodes involving the submandibular and upper deep cervical nodes are present, and the middle and lower deep cervical nodes are also involved. 35% there will be oral tongue cancer have clinically positive nodes on admission. So they come to the OPD with positive nodes only. So with positive nodes and neck nodes involvement, then we go for mouth examination. Then we come to find out that there is carcinoma of tongue. The incidence of occult disease is approximately 30%. The incidence of positive nodes increases with the T staging, that is tumor sizing. The patients with the first N1 or N2 ipsilateral nodes have significant risk of developing node metastasis in the opposite neck. So, coming to TNM staging. So, TX is unable to access the primary tumor. T0, there is no evidence of any primary tumor. TIS is carcinoma in situ. T1 is tumor less than 2 centimeters, T2 2 to 4 centimeters, and T3 is greater than 4 centimeters. T4A, that is oral. Tumor invades the adjacent structure, that is cortical bone, deep tongue musculature, and maxillary sinus. And T4B, it includes the masticated spaces, pterygoid plates or skull bases, and are encases the internal carotid artery. Regional lymphadenopathy. So regional lymph nodes cannot be assessed. No regional lymph node metastasis is seen, and single ipsilateral lymph nodes, that is 3 centimeters or less, will be present in N1. So N2A is single ipsilateral lymph node, that is 3 to 6 centimeters in size. N2B is multiple ipsilateral lymph nodes greater than 6 centimeters in size. And N2C is bilateral or contralateral lymph node, and all nodes are larger than 6 centimeters. So regional N3 lymph node consists of lymph nodes greater than 6 centimeters in size, either contralateral or ipsilateral. Distant metastasis. When we call it as distant, when M1 is called as distant. If more than one group of lymph nodes are involved, it is called as distant metastasis. So staging 1, T1, N0, M0. Stage 2 consists of T2. Stage 3, T3, or T1 to N3 with N1. Stage 4A and 4B, 4C. 4A includes T4A, T4A N1, and T1 to T4A and N2. Stage 4B includes any T, but N3 will be present, and T4B with any N nodal involvement. And stage 4C is any T, any N with metastasis, that is M1. So 4 stages of lymph nodes. So how do you diagnose this? How do you diagnose the carcinoma? So history and complete physical examination. On coming to OPD, we find out whether the patient is having any other symptomatic conditions. That is, we take his complete history and complete physical examination, including the oral cavity with neck nodes and other group of lymph nodes are involved or not. Then we focus on the mucosal examination or upper airway digestive tract. So after examination completely, we send him for the radiological and pathological confirmation. That is radiological, we go for ultrasound neck, followed by FNAC of the lymph nodes and FNAC of the carcinoma of the tongue, and followed by pathological biopsy. So incisional biopsy for the margin of the ulcers usually confirms the diagnosis, and also X-ray to include any bone involvement. So indirect laryngoscopy to exclude any lesions in the posterior third of the tongue, chest X-ray to exclude the chest metastasis. And baseline investigations include complete hemogram, that is blood sugar, and renal failure, RFTs and ECG. CT and MRI head scan of the head and neck is to assess the local lesion staging. So coming to the treatment. Surgery and radiation therapy are the only curative treatment for carcinoma arising in the head and neck. Chemotherapy enhances the effects of the radiation-based treatment and thus is routinely used as part of combined modality treatment, particularly in the patients with stage 3 and stage 4 diseases. So, how to select for the treatment modality? Both surgery and radiation result in cure rates that are similar to from similar staging. So, disadvantage of surgery include removal of the part of the tongue and the decision of whether or not to do anterior neck dissection. So disadvantages of radiation include risk of necrosis of the local lymph nodes and other non-involved lymph nodes and other non-involved structures. So these are the various disadvantages including the treatment therapy. So excisional biopsy is just for a confirmatory type, and also in a few stages it is a treatment type. So biopsy of small lesions may show inadequate or equivocal margins. So interstitial implant or re-excision will produce a high rate of local control. So after excision biopsy, we have to do redo surgery. So for early lesions, that is involving T1 and T2, partial gastrectomy with primary closure of the skin graft, done transverally and is usually done by the preferred therapy. So depending on the depth of the invasion, an elective neck dissection may be indicated. So postoperative radiation therapy would also be indicated. Frozen section control is an essential part of the procedure. So, and positive margins are an indicating for excision of the additional tissue. Surgery for T1 and T2 tumors. It includes partial gastrectomy with 1 centimeter wide excision with 1 centimeter clearance for in case of less than 1 centimeter or 1 centimeter in margin with margin. And tumor with 1 to 2 centimeters, partial gastrectomy with 2 centimeters clearance of margin. So we go for this much of quarter effect of the tongue is removed. So with the tumor greater than 2 centimeters, hemiglosectomy is done. That is, half of the tongue is removed. So moderate and advanced lesion, that is T2 and T3. So the preferred treatment for the majority of the patient is partial gastrectomy and neck dissection and postoperative radiotherapy in advanced lesion. So these tumors may extend laterally across the floor of the mouth and onto the adjacent mandible. They may also extend medially and deep into the root of the tongue musculature and sparing the floor of mouth and mandibular mucosa. So treatment includes excision of the primary tumor and block dissection of the lymph nodes with or without segmental mandibulectomy, that is classic commando operation. Okay. The advanced lesions, that is T4, it includes combined therapy with surgery and radiation therapy with cure for very few patients. So most patients in this category will receive palliative therapy. Advanced lesions require a total gastrectomy and sometimes a laryngectomy combined with postoperative radiation therapy. Reconstruction of the tongue after glossectomy surgery by deltopectoral flap. So various type of flaps are preferred basing upon the type of glossectomy, that is partial or hemi or complete glossectomy. We go for different type of flaps, that is deltopectoral, forehead flap, that is rotational type of flap, pectoralis major muscle, that is a major type of flap, and also sometimes we go for skin grafting. So flaps are more useful than that of the grafting. So first we prefer for the flap, or else if it is not preferable, then we go for the skin grafting. So post-operative management, what do we do in post-operative conditions after surgery? So first we go for the control of edema and infection, or else the surgery waste or complete surgery done is of waste. So we ask the patient to do for regular mouthwash and gargling. and also to maintain the airway. That is to see for any breathing difficulties. Prevention of the aspiration, as the tongue movements will be present, so the patient will be more risk for aspirating the saliva and other contents. So nutrition, mostly as there is a risk of aspiration, the patient will give nasogastric tube nutrition and percutaneous gastrostomy is preferred in case of end stages. So management in the neck. Clinically, positive eclipse. Now the operation precedes the irradiation in the primary sites to be treated surgically. The irradiation precedes the operation of the primary site was to be treated by radiation therapy or if the node was fixed. The primary tumor is to be managed by operation. Preoperative radiation therapy is recommended, followed by removal of the primary lesion in addition to the appropriate neck dissection. Okay. Modified radical neck dissection. Sufficient treatment for the ipsilateral neck for the patient with N1R and N2A disease without extracapsular extension. And radiation therapy, it is added for N2B and N3 staging for control of the contralateral subclinical diseases, for invasion through the capsule of the node, and for multiple positive lymph nodes. So when do we do? These are the prior treatment therapies for the modified radical neck dissection and also radiation therapy. Case of stage 3, stage 4. Stage 3 and stage 2, sorry. Stage 4 AL. When the primary lesions is to be managed by irradiation, then radiation-based therapy alone is sufficient for patients in whom the nodes regress completely as documented on CT for 4 weeks after completion of treatment. Radiation is followed by neck dissection for patients with residual nodes that are 1.5 centimeters or larger, as well as the tumors that demonstrate focal disease enhancement and or calcification. When do we say it is negative? So clinically negative nodes, the incidence of subclinical diseases in the regional lymphatics when the neck is clinically negative in 250 to 30% of cases. Both irradiation and neck dissection are approximately 90% effective in eradicating subclinical disease in the neck lymph nodes. Chemo. So drugs used in chemo mostly are cisplatin, methotrexate, carboplatin, trifluorouracil, paclitaxel, and docetaxel. So other monoclonal antibodies that is most effective in case of carcinoma tongue is cetuximab, used in patients with disease refractory to the platinum-based therapy. These are the questions that is asked mostly in Viva. So you may better remember this treatment option. So drug therapy may be administered to prevent the development of secondary primary cancer, that is chemo prevention, and to palliate the symptoms in case of incurable, that is stage 4, in case of metastasis. Okay. Adjuvant chemotherapy consists of 2 cycles of concomitant cisplatin, that is 12 mg per meter square per day, and 5-fluorouracil 600 mg per meter square per day for each for 5 days. So these are the 2 drugs that are to be given in 2 cycles. This is followed by 2 cycles of maintenance chemotherapy. So same is given in the maintenance also. So they are followed by maintenance. And radiotherapy. Coming to the superficial tumor tumors, iridium treatment by iridium brachytherapy. That is, iridium needles are placed in the cancerous part and they are removed after 1 month. And the irradiation occurs, local irradiation of the iridium occurs, killing the cancerous cells. And large lesions that have increased risk of subclinical neck disease, treatment with external beam EBRT, external beam radiotherapy, and a brachytherapy boost, or with brachytherapy combined with a elective neck dissection. And the interstitial therapy is given after the external beam radiotherapy because it is more effective after EBRT. And the intraoral cone therapy, it is done prior to the EBRT. So intraoral cone therapy, EBRT, and interstitial therapy, these are the combination of the therapy, that is irradiation given in case of carcinoma tongue. So what is the effectiveness of surgery plus radiation in treatment of the cancer? So combined modality therapy should be avoided for lesions with a high cure rate of 70% of greater by either surgery or radiation therapy alone. Okay. So preoperative radiation therapy should be considered for the following situation, that is fixed neck nodes. And if there is initiation of the post-operative radiotherapy will be delayed by more than 8 weeks due to reconstruction. Use of gastric pull-up for reconstruction and open biopsy for portion neck nodes. The post-operative radiation therapy is considered when the risk of recurrence above the classical exceeds 20%. And the radiation is started no later than 68 weeks after surgery. So indication for post-operative radiotherapy, that is closer posterior margin that is less than 5 mm and extracapsular extension, multiple partial lymph nodes are present, invasion of the soft tissue of the for the neck, endothelial line spaces and invasion and perineal invasion, and more than 5 mm of subglottic invasion. So these are the indications for post-op radio. What are the complications of surgery? That is post-operatively after 1 week. From the day of surgery to the long-term complications include thoracoperitoneal fistula, flap necrosis, dysphagia, damage to lingual nerve or hypoglossal nerve, and carotid artery hemorrhage. Due to what are the post-operative complications due to radiotherapy include soft tissue necrosis, osteoradionecrosis of the mandible. So even the bone is also necrosed. Treatment includes for this is pentoxifylline 400 mg TID, hyperbaric oxygen. If conservative measures are unsuccessful, then we go for segmental mandibulectomy and osteomyogluteus flap. That is the bone flap. And the complications due to chemotherapy include megaloblastic anemia, bone marrow suppression, alopecia, and sepsis. Management of the recurrence. It includes the local recurrence after radiation therapy of surgery is stabilized by ulceration. Recurrence has a slight elevation of rolled border, whereas necrosis do not. Biopsy should be done as soon as ulceration appears. Also, the taperes and adjacent normal tissue are likely due to irradiation and not cancers. So, radiation failure is managed by surgery. Surgical failure occasionally is salvaged by re-resection and post-operative radiation. And surgery failure is very minimal. Recurrence in the soft tissue of the neck is rarely eradicated by any procedure. So nodes appearing in previously untreated necks are managed by neck dissection with or without post-operative radiation. Thank you.
तक का सबसे घातक सर्जरी